Njokwa. Sawataunsiyos kanigariwasa. Negadi ohandu kariwadekwa angwanahetsu. Agwegu aska atitawat noni neongwatnigura tano dieti nuaradu ne yuganistaa. Zio hunzade zi sego yagoriwat doga zi nahoda dayak got dat wat haje. Dogadi not yodu nugwatnigura. I'd like to acknowledge now that today is Indigenous Veterans Day. On this day, we observe the service of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis veterans, many of whom died in the line of duty. I have special connection to this as my brother served in Desert Storm for the American military, and the struggles during and after those events live with him and therefore live with me. So I invite you all to spare a moment of your time today to think about our Indigenous veterans, please. On behalf of the Royal Society of Canada, I would like to congratulate all of the newly elected members of the College for their outstanding contributions to their respective disciplines. We are honored to celebrate the importance of the contributions that they have made to this country and abroad. Please join me in welcoming this year's members of the 2024 cohort of the College of New Scholars. Please be seated. Honorable invitees, chers collègues, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, bienvenue à la présentation des membres du Collège de la Société Royale du Canada. Welcome to the presentation of new members of the College of New Scholars, Artists, and Scientists of the Royal Society of Canada for 2024. Much of the work of Simon Fraser University takes place on the unceded traditional territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam peoples. It's important for us to acknowledge the territories to which we are guests. My name is Frank Deere, and I'm a professor of Indigenous Education at the Faculty of Education at the University of Manitoba, and I'm also president of the RSC College. I am joined today and welcome you by my colleague and friend, Professor Isabelle Archambault of the Université de Montréal, who is the college's secretary. We, along with the 8 other members of the college's council and the wider college membership, want to congratulate you on your election. You should be proud of what you have accomplished in your careers.
Nyawengo, Frank. Chers collègues, il me fait un grand plaisir de vous accueillir aujourd'hui et de vous accompagner à titre de nouveaux membres du Collège. Vos candidatures ont été triées sur le volet. Vous qui avez été sélectionnés non seulement en raison de votre excellence académique, mais également scientifique ou artistique. But beyond the symbolic honor of joining the college, you will also become part of something larger than yourselves. I encourage all of you to become involved in our activities, conversation, community work, and to take full advantage of your 7 years at the college to learn, contribute, and to connect to a network of smart, dynamic, and engaged researchers.
We are delighted to have 57 college members to present to you this afternoon. Today, we are celebrating and welcoming you, an outstanding group of scholars, artists, and scientists whose expertise spans a wide range of research fields and who represent universities and organizations from coast to coast. As many of you know, the college was founded in 2014 with the idea of creating a pan-Canadian organization of Canada's top early and mid-career scholars, artists, and scientists who would have no disciplinary boundaries. The college was designed to provide opportunities to think creatively about how the humanities, social sciences, and arts come together to confront some of our world's most urgent challenges. As a member of the College Council, I've had the opportunity to see how the college has been working to fulfill this mandate and how it continues to make its mark on the RSC through direct involvement with RSC committees. We do this through public engagement activities, including the work of the COVID-19 task force, international activities relating to the G7 and G20 statements, as well as developing a program to support our academic colleagues displaced to Canada due to war, conflict, or threats against their person. As stated in the RSC's strategic plan, the main objectives of independent expertise, inclusive excellence, and international engagement reflect our values. This cohort, your cohort, is the 11th cohort since 2014, and we look forward to your contributions. This year also marks the graduation of our 4th cohort, those who started the college in 2017. At this moment, we will also say goodbye to them as college members, but welcome them as alumni. The college seeks excellence as demonstrated through academic, creative, and intellectual production, as well as the ability to speak beyond disciplinary borders and through community engagement. We are committed to inclusive excellence to ensure that we, the college, represents the best of Canadian research and practice. We are dedicated to equity, diversity, and inclusion, and as the next generation of university leaders in this country, indeed, a number of us already are leaders in our own right, we have a responsibility to lead by example.
Nous avons cette année une très belle cohorte qui est bien balancée en termes d'expertise et d'engagement. The incoming cohort consists of 57 new members from 31 different institutions and all regions of the country. We have 10 members from the BC, 5 from the Prairies, 21 from Ontario, 14 from Quebec, 6 from Atlantic Canada, and 1 from outside Canada. As with other years, we continue our tradition of the de nomino introduction of new college members. We have invited each new member to prepare an introduction for another new member of the college, and we have asked each member to present a link between their research and the research of the person they are introducing. En prenant le temps de découvrir d'autres membres, travaillant souvent aux antipodes de ses propres intérêts, Nous visons à ce que chacun et chacune d'entre nous et chacun et chacune de ces personnes développe, dès l'intronisation, une curiosité envers son prochain. Nous souhaitons par le fait même établir un début de dialogue interdisciplinaire et un mouvement vers l'inclusion.
So let us begin. I have the pleasure, the duty, and the honor of kicking us off by introducing Lauren Beck. Lauren Beck is a faculty member at Mount Allison University. Lauren's research exposes the coloniality of our visual culture that shapes and constrains our identities through social and mass media of any period. She pioneers visual and material means of decentering the Western epistemologies and perspectives that uphold white supremacy and patriarchy to shine light on marginalized peoples and their agency, from women and people of color to indigenous peoples, and to amplifying their voices and experiences. I have great appreciation for Lauren's work as it bears some thematic similarity to my work on the languages and spiritual orientations of Ungwehunwe, indigenous peoples in our territories, and how these may be important features of the reconciliatory process. Watwanunaradu, welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank. My colleague, Nathan Andrews, is an internationally recognized expert on the global political economy of resource extraction and development. Il a réalisé des travaux novateurs et primés sur la gouvernance d'entreprise, la licence sociale d'exploitation, l'engagement des parties prenantes et la gouvernance hybride de la sécurité. My research with traditional ecological knowledge only affirms the importance of Andrews' work in this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Beck. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Miriam Ertz. Dr. Ertz is the director of Labo NFC and a Tier 2 Canada researcher in technology, sustainability, and society. Her world-class contributions have deepened our understanding of responsible consumption, marketing, collaborative consumption and economy, the circular economy, digital marketing, technology, and innovation. Given our shared interest in sustainability and society, as well as socially responsible consumption and production, I believe our work, in a way, contributes to corporate governance and social, political, public policy, including at least 3 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. But I have to say that, after knowing so much about your work and everything that you've done, I really do feel like you're truly an inspiring person, to someone I want to be when I grow up. And I really hope that we can get to work together on some cool stuff. Congratulations, Dr. Ertz.
Thank you so much, Nathan. I'm going to introduce Christoph Ortner. So Christoph... I'm going to do it in French, but if you want to know more, of course, you can ask me as a reference person now for Christoph to have more specification in English. Alors, Christoph Ortner a apporté des contributions fondamentales à la modélisation, à la simulation atomistique et multi-échelle, ainsi qu'à leur application à la modélisation des matériaux. English now. The span of his achievements, from sophisticated mathematical theory to computational physics and chemistry, enhance our understanding of such natural subjects. His use of machine learning techniques is exemplary. Ses travaux ont été publiés dans de nombreuses publications hautement citées et lui ont mérité plusieurs prix internationaux et postes éditoriaux. Même si nous le faisons différemment, nous sommes tous les deux des modélisateurs. We are both modelers. Et j'ose espérer, I hope, que ce point en commun, that is common point we have, me permettra de suivre ses traces, will allow me to follow his footsteps sur le plan de ses réalisations scientifiques, on the level of his scientific achievements. Thank you very much, Christophe, for being such an inspiring model.
Thank you, Miriam, for introducing me. And now I have the pleasure of presenting Professor Elisabeth Dubois. Elisabeth Dubois is a university research chair at the University of Ottawa, who is known for her work on the intersection of technology, politics, and society. Alors que je travaille sur l'application de l'intelligence artificielle dans les sciences, le professeur Dubois se rencontre sur la façon dont elle influence l'opinion publique, l'engagement politique et la désinformation. Her work brings insight on the impact of social media and artificial intelligence on modern civic life. And after this week, I'd like to add, there's no better time than now to debate these issues. Thank you for your work.
Merci, Christophe.
Merci. J'ai l'honneur de vous présenter le Dr. Kate Sharon. Kate, elle s'attaque à des défis cruciaux en matière de durabilité grâce à ses travaux interdisciplinaires et innovateurs. Through a mix of visual, spatial, and other social scientific methods, she aims to understand how people perceive landscape change. We've got a shared love of mixed methods, but beyond that, while my research tries to understand our information, environment, and ecosystem, she aims to understand the choices humans make in our ecological ecosystem and how those human choices impact our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dubois. I have the very big pleasure of presenting Dr. Trevor Pugh. Dr. Pugh's work seeks to understand the genetic roots of cancer, as well as the ways that genetics can help detect and treat it more effectively. In my family, as well as I'm sure many of those in the audience, we rely on people like Dr. Pugh to push the boundaries of this field of translational genomics in which he is a Canada Research Chair. Our fields could hardly be more different, but we both seek to use improved understanding of the underlying drivers of scary and disruptive changes to help people adapt to fight them, he for cancer and me for climate. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate, for that thoughtful introduction. I'm thrilled to present Dr. Leandro Coelho, a world-leading expert in logistics. People like Leandro literally make the world go around, including work in my own lab. He solves the miracle of moving literally anything around the world. In my case, blood samples from Nepal, 2-ton genome sequencing machines, and single tubes of lab reagents we just have to have in a timely manner. Thank you, Leandro, for your work. Your work makes all of the rest of our research possible. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Trevor. I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Emilio Alarcón. Dr. Alarcón, un scientifique exceptionnel et un ardent défenseur de l'inclusion et de la diversité. As an associate professor at the University of Ottawa and the University of Ottawa Heart Institute, his groundbreaking research in bionanomaterials and regenerative medicine aims to significantly improve patient outcomes, particularly for those with failing organs and tissues. Emilio es también un comunicador científico, un modelo y una persona neurodivergente, quien trabaja día a día para cultivar un sistema de enseñanza e investigación inclusivo y accesible.
Thank you for that introduction. So it's my pleasure now introducing Dr. Prevost Jansho. Dr. Jian Xu is a clinician and chercheur at the CHU Saint-Justine et professeur au département de pédiatrie de la faculté de médecine de l'Université de Montréal. His research program focuses on inflammatory bowel disease, environmental risk factors, and improving the quality of patient care. He has set up a program to develop and support medical students' research skills. Dr. Prevost es also el fundador de la Fundación Inspire, una organización cuya misión es promover la diversidad en medicina e investigación. My field of research, even though it's biomedical sciences, I've been actually challenged and experiencing here in Canada systemic discrimination and ableism. So the research Dr. Jian Xu is doing is really touching my heart very close because it's our mission to develop a healthcare system with all, for all. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, Emilio. Thank you very much, Emilio. It is now my pleasure to introduce Professor Caroline Shenas Hossein. Caroline is an associate professor at the University of Toronto and a founding member of the Diverse Solidarity Economy Collective. Su trabajo amplifica las economías solidarias de las poblaciones marginadas. Caroline est titulaire d'une chaire de recherche du Canada de niveau 2 en développement africain et économie politique. Nos disciplines sont différentes, mais son engagement pour l'inclusion sociale résonne avec mes recherches en santé chez l'enfant où l'équité est fondamentale. Caroline.
Merci. Merci, Dr. Prévost Jian Xu, pour l'introduction. I have the pleasure of introducing full professor Isabelle Plante. Elle est dans le département de didactique Université du Québec à Montréal, où elle étudie comme l'adaptation psychosociale et scolaire des jeunes influence le parcours scolaire des garçons et des filles à l'école primaire et secondaire. As a mother and a feminist scholar concerned about economic inequality, it is reassuring to know that Professor Plante holds the Canada Research Chair on Gender Differences in Schools, where she examines systemic issues affecting our children in the primary educational system. Boy, do we need this more than ever after last week's election in the US. Thank you, and congratulations, Isabelle.
Thank you very much. It is now my great pleasure to present Dr. Elizabeth Clare, professor at the Department of Biology at York University. La Dr. Clare est une spécialiste mondiale de la science de la biodiversité. She popularized the use of DNA in feeding ecology and food web analysis, pioneered the use of DNA filtered from the air for targeted species monitoring, and demonstrated how planetary air quality networks can monitor global biodiversity. Il s'agit également d'une communicatrice scientifique très appréciée qui s'implique bénévolement auprès de nombreux groupes qui font du mentorat en STEM, soit les sciences, technologies, ingénierie et mathématiques. Bien que mes travaux ne s'inscrivent pas dans les sciences de la biodiversité, j'y vois des parallèles intéressants avec mes recherches qui portent sur les différences de genre à l'école, notamment dans le domaine des STEM. Congratulations, Dr. Clare, for your nomination.
Thank you. I have the pleasure of presenting Dr. Mireille Piquet. Mireille is an associate professor of political science and a Canada Research Chair on the politics of immigration. Her research teams study immigration in Quebec and internationally, and she is recognized by her peers for her innovative contribution to our knowledge of federalism and the relationships between immigration and politics. While Dr. Piquet's work is very different from my own, of tropical ecology and global biodiversity, we do have personal links. I spent nearly a decade immigrating to a new country through changing political landscapes. The politics of immigration are personal for many of us. Mireille tells me that due to her partner's research area, they frequently discuss patterns of species colonization and adaptation. It is interesting then that it is in our personal lives that we may find similarities. It's my pleasure to present Dr. Paquette.
Merci beaucoup pour cette introduction. I have the honor of presenting Narges Nouri. Narges is an author and illustrator of children's book. Her book focuses on empowering girls and women. Madame Nouri a œuvré pendant plusieurs années comme professeure à la Faculté des Beaux-Arts de l'Université de Kaboul, une université qu'elle a été forcée de quitter en raison du retour au pouvoir des talibans en Afghanistan. And she is now a fellow from the Institute of International Education's Artist Protection Fund and is in residence at the University of Alberta. Well, I could certainly benefit from arts instruction from Narges. I'm pretty sure we all could. Her story and her work motivates me to continue to research interventions that ensure that Canada remains open to those seeking protection anywhere around the world, as well as those who decide to come to Canada from different regions. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Heidi Turek. Dr. Heidi Turek, Canada Research Chair, Professor of History and Public Policy, and Director of the Center for a Study of Democratic Institutions at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver. Multi-award-winning author of one book and over 45 journal articles and book chapters. Turek researches the global history and policy of communications and media. She's a senior fellow at the Center for International Governance Innovations. Both Dr. Heidi Turek and I focus on the power of communication to drive societal change. She through her research on media and democracy, and I through my stories and illustrations that empower women. We both aim to elevate underrepresented voices, with her work advising policymakers on communication issues and my art inspiring audiences about women's rights. Our approaches highlight the importance of representation and understanding in fostering empowerment on a global scale. Thank you, and congratulations.
As I helped to bring a Ukrainian scholar at risk to the University of British Columbia in 2022, I am particularly honored to introduce Dr. Olha Chernovol. Dr. Chernovol is a member of the Ukrainian National Bar Association and left Kiev after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Ses travaux font progresser notre compréhension des méfaits tels que le blanchiment d'argent et la corruption. My own work on communications has shown the importance of business, so I have much to learn from Dr. Chernovol's focus on financial integrity. Thank you for being with us in Canada, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm thrilled to introduce Joshua Rush. Joshua Rush is a remarkable leader in the field of clinical health psychology. His impactful research has truly made a difference in the lives of individuals dealing with a chronic condition. By bridging the realms of psychology and medicine, his innovative work has brought about lasting improvements in the well-being of those struggling with the pain, mental health issues, and substance use concerns. His work holds particular relevance for me in my attempts related to anti-corruption. As both Joshua and I committed to addressing social challenges through our prospective research. This exists the clear nexus between Joshua and my work underscoring our shared dedication to advancing the well-being of individuals and society at large. Congratulations. I'm sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Sorry.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Dr. Tsinova. It is my great pleasure to introduce and present Dr. Stefanos Aratakis. Dr. Ratikis is a pioneer in the development and application of mathematical theorems that provide fundamental insights into general relativity. His work has enhanced our understanding of both the structure and the function of black holes. As somebody who has worked within health service research, like Dr. Ratikis, my research involves the application of the scientific method to clarify and bring understanding to seemingly chaotic forces. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Joshua. It's my great pleasure to introduce Professor Jean-Frédéric Morin. Jean-Frédéric is from the Department of Political Science at Université Laval and is a Canada researcher in international political economy. Professor Morin's research is focused on how international institutions innovate, interact, and evolve. His work concerns institutions in the fields of trade, environmental governance, and outer space. His research on policy coherence contributes to a better integration of health and environmental concerns in international trade deals, and his datasets on international treaties are widely used by researchers and treaty negotiators alike. Jean-Frédéric has been recognized for successfully supervising and mentoring a very large number of graduate students. Our fields are quite far apart, as I am a mathematician interested in the natural world, but from a broader point of view, we are both working on understanding the complicated structure of large-scale institutions. After all, black holes are institutions of outer space. Congratulations.
Thank you. I have the great pleasure to introducing you to Professor Sean Hellyer. Sean is a Mi'kmaq scholar. He holds the York Research Chair in Indigenous Health Policy and One Health. Son parcours est vraiment inspirant. Moi, j'ai été particulièrement impressionné par sa capacité à intégrer les sciences sociales, les sciences de la santé et les technologies de manière holiste. In doing so, he successfully connects some of the greatest challenges of our time with the specific needs of certain communities. Félicitations. Congratulations.
Thank you for that lovely and heartwarming introduction. It is my pleasure to be presenting Dr. Dylan Robinson. Dr. Robinson is a world-recognized authority in Indigenous music, public art and performance, and their engagements with settler colonial politics of reconciliation and redress. His interdisciplinary scholarship, curatorial work, and facilitation of collaborative gatherings have cut new trail in understanding Indigenous sonic culture and other expressive arts and their work in our world. As a health scholar, I see firsthand how this type of scholarship advances holistic health for Indigenous peoples through building connection to culture, ceremony, and community knowledge. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor Hellyer. I have the great pleasure today of introducing Professor Emma Duerden. Professor Duerden is a Canada Research Chair in Neuroscience and Learning Disorders in the Faculty of Education at Western University, where she leads the Developing Brain Research Program. In both of our work, Lamset Miatola Yamimala, I'm speaking a bit in Halkomelem here. Dr. Duerden's work on identifying factors that promote resilience to early life stress, healthy brain development, and academic achievement in children shares some connection with my own work on Indigenous resilience and intergenerational language learning in Indigenous communities. Thank you so much for your work, Dr. Duerden.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Well, it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Azim Sharif. Dr. Sharif is a professor and Canada 150 Research Chair in the Department of Psychology here at the University of British Columbia. As a leading scholar in moral psychology, his research has profoundly influenced our understanding of how religion can shape human morality, addressing pressing social issues like punishment as well as economic inequality. His insights into moral frameworks are particularly relevant to my research on early life stress and its impact on brain development and cognitive outcome, highlighting the importance of ethical considerations in fostering positive developmental environments for children. Congratulations.
Thank you. It is my great pleasure to introduce you to Matthew Miller. Dr. Miller is the director of the DeGroote Institute of Infection Disease Research. When trying to learn more about Dr. Miller, I first went to his Google Scholar page, but I, as a humble social scientist, did not understand half the words in the titles of his papers. So I next moved over to the CBC. There I came across an article where he was describing some of his cutting-edge research on a universal flu vaccine, the holy grail of virology, noting that he expected such a vaccine within 10 years. This was very exciting news to me. More exciting was that this article was from 2018, meaning that we were already 6 years into those 10 years. But of course, 2 years after he made that claim, a new virus popped up in Wuhan and shifted Dr. Miller's research to a more pressing vaccine, an even holier grail. The following year, in 2021, he was named a Canada Research Chair in Viral Pandemics. Since then, he has begun directing McMaster's Global Nexus Health Innovation Accelerator and co-directing the Canadian Pandemic Preparedness Hub. He has pioneered a next-generation nasal spray vaccine for COVID. And I'm supposed to say how his research relates to me in my lab, so I will say that I'm grateful that he's helped save our lives. Thank you, Dr. Miller. Congratulations.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Sharif. J'ai le plaisir de vous présenter la Dr. Stephanie Blaine-Moraes de McGill University. Dr. Blaine-Moraes is Canada Research Chair in Consciousness and Personhood Technology. She's spearheaded major scientific advances in the assessment of human consciousness and in the creation of technologies that support the personhood of minimally communicative individuals. An important component of our team's research program over the past 10 years has focused on understanding how infection and the immune response that those infections provoke influence ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, a disease that ultimately robs patients of their ability to communicate independently. I've seen firsthand the devastating impact that this has on patients and their families, and so have a particularly special appreciation for the importance of the contributions that Dr. Blaine-Moraes has made through her team's research. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miller. I have the pleasure of presenting Dr. Ning Zhang. Dr. Zhang is a leading scientist in the Internet of Vehicles, mobile edge computing, and wireless networking. Il est reconnu sur le plan international pour sa contribution exceptionnelle à l'analyse et à l'optimisation des performances des véhicules connectés et des réseaux cognitifs. Although we work on vastly different scales, my research assessing consciousness in severely brain-injured patients shares a common approach with Dr. Zhang in characterizing and optimizing networks. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Melanie Lemire. And Dr. Melanie Lemire is a leading researcher to address environmental contaminants, oceanic change, and nutrition as they affect the health of indigenous and coastal community. her research helped to find solutions to establish a healthier, fair, and more sustainable planet. While my field differs, I admire her work's impact on the community health and the sustainable practices. Congratulations.
Merci, professeur Zhang. J'ai le privilège de vous présenter la professeure Véronique Morin, qui est titulaire de la chaire de recherche John David Eaton sur la sclérose en plaques, qui est au sein de la Unity Health Toronto, et professeure titulaire à l'Université de Toronto. She conducts world-leading research on how the insulation of surrounding nerves in the central nervous system, called myelin, is supported in health and degenerated or malformated in common neurological conditions like multiple sclerosis. Ces travaux sont d'un grand intérêt pour nos recherches en collaboration avec les premiers peuples dans le sud ou dans le nord du Canada, qui visent à mieux comprendre comment les contaminants environnementaux, mais aussi tous les bénéfices qui se trouvent dans les aliments traditionnels, impactent les fonctions cérébrales des générations actuelles et à venir. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. I have the honor of presenting Dr. Mohamed Arjmand. Dr. Arjmand is an engineer whose work involves the synthesis of multifunctional nanomaterials and development of new approaches to plastic recycling. Cela a de nombreuses applications dans diverses industries. Par exemple, dans l'amélioration des appareils électriques, le traitement des eaux usées, l'emballage alimentaire et même dans les domaines aérospatial et militaire. I can see parallels to my work involving use of nanotechnology to improve drug delivery to brain cells. Congratulations.
So much. So it's my honor and pleasure to introduce Dr. Joel Corbin. Dr. Corbin is an internationally renowned researcher in aerosol and climate science. His pioneering work focuses on developing innovative techniques to measure and understand air pollution from wildfires and combustion, addressing the critical challenges of forecasting Canada's evolving air quality and climate. Dr. Corbin's findings also guide policymakers in mitigating climate change and reducing air toxicity, which resonates with me personally, as I experienced a devastating wildfire in Kelowna last year that my house was under evacuation order for 1 week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Arjmand. Et bonjour à tous. C'est avec un grand plaisir que je vous présente Professeur Laura Estill of the Department of English at St. Francis Xavier University. Professor Estill is Professor of English and a Tier 2 Canada Research Chair in Digital Humanities. Demonstrating the use of digital tools to ask questions of our past, Dr. Estill's award-winning research explores the reception of early modern English drama from its early contexts of print, manuscript, and performance to today's online and classroom environments. Although Shakespeare and climate-changing air pollution are rarely discussed in the same sentence, Dr. Estill's use of novel tools to gain new insights into well-established topics is something that I myself am passionate about. Congratulations, Professor.
Thank you, Dr. Corbin. You should come to some of the eco-critical panels at the Shakespeare Association. It is my pleasure today to introduce Dr. Jay Shah. Dr. Shah is an international leader in mental health research. Ses travaux ont fait progresser les perspectives transdiagnostiques quant aux santé mentale et influencent la conception des systèmes d'intervention précoce et des services de santé mentale pour les jeunes. My area of focus is on how we research in the humanities, often across disciplines and with digital tools, just as Dr. Shaw reflects on how bringing together diagnostic techniques and reconfiguring processes can help improve our mental health care research and practices. Félicitations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm delighted to present Dr. Andrea Reed. So Dr. Reed is a Nisga'a citizen, but also a scientist deeply involved in community-based work in the Nazca River Valley, across British Columbia and beyond. Her efforts are centered around the history of, and perhaps a just and better future for fish and fisheries. She leads the Center for Indigenous Fisheries at UBC and is a Canada Research Chair in Indigenous Fisheries Science. I'm a psychiatrist, but one who's been involved in a range of projects involving Indigenous communities and engaging them. So I'm so grateful to be able to learn about her work, which seems to cut across intergenerational, land-based, and relational approaches, and to think about ways in which it can inform and improve my own understandings. Thank you.
Dimgwyn Wilayant, Martha White Lawson. I'm going to introduce Martha White to all of you. Martha White is an associate professor of computing science at the University of Alberta and a fellow of AMI, the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute. She holds a Canada CFAR AI chair and a Tier 2 Canada Research Chair in Reinforcement Learning. Her research focus is on developing algorithms that learn to adapt continually, and in line with my own body of research, Dr. White shares an express focus on working towards more sustainable futures. S'ample Willen, continue to make goodness and bravery.
This is not working. Oh, there we go. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Kayla King. Dr. King is an expert on the ecology and contemporary evolution of host-parasite interactions. In simpler terms, she researches how host and parasite co-evolve and how parasite transmission and virulence change as the environment and biodiversity change. Very interesting topic. So for myself, understanding continual adaptation to environment change and drift is a really big theme of my own research, but for artificial agents rather than for host and parasite. A fun fact, we both have roots in Indiana University, where she did her PhD and where I was a prof for several years. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure to present Dr. Cao Tan Dinh. Dr. Tan Dinh is a Canada Research Chair at Queen's University and a laureate of the Falls Walls Science Breakthrough of the Year Prize. He is an expert in carbon capture technologies, providing solutions to humanity's over-reliance on fossil fuels, desperately needed. Whilst my work explores the consequences of climate change for infectious disease evolution, Dr. Tin's advances in chemical engineering aim to mitigate the causes of climate change. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kayla. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Bukola Salami from University of Calgary. Dr. Bukola's work has contributed to the establishment of the first mental health clinic for Black Canadians in Western Canada. While my research on carbon capture and conversion is not directly related to her research, but I believe both of our research areas have the potential to impact a diverse population, especially those who are often most vulnerable to the environmental and social challenges. Congratulations.
Ino jikri, miigwech, nimin no wendan, ewida ma winakog, owawe Sheila McCartney. known for collaboration with First Nations to co-create housing solutions that support community well-being and self-determination, resulting in the first regional First Nations-led housing strategy in Canada. And both our work focus on addressing historical and contemporary structural racism.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salami. Unfortunately, Dr. Aaron Phillips is not able to join us here today because once I tell you about him, you'll understand why he quickly had to exit the room to help other people. I have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Aaron Phillips to the college. He is a pioneer of understanding the mechanisms underlying neurovascular regulation in the human brain and treating spinal cord injury using implantable technologies, bioinformatics, and control engineering. Ses découvertes lui ont valu des succès commerciaux. Although I work in housing and he works in bioscience and the neurological conditions, what inspires us both is the ability to contribute directly and tangibly to the lives and the well-beings of Canadians. Thank you.
I'm speaking on behalf of Aaron now. And on behalf of Aaron, thank you, Professor McCartney. I am honored to present Dr. Linda Pierce. Linda Pierce, whose work seamlessly integrates early art music performance with archival research to create innovative intercultural artistic works. Her research as the Canada Research Chair in Music, Contact, and Conflict explores the sonic intersections of early modern cultures, shedding light on identity and intercultural relationships. Both of our fields, I'm speaking on behalf of Aaron now, involve uncovering hidden connections to drive progress in impactful ways for society. Congratulations, Dr. Pierce.
Thank you so much. Ça me fait vraiment plaisir de présenter aujourd'hui Mohamed Ali Jenabian. Professeur Jenabian est titulaire de la chaire de recherche du Canada des IRSC en immunovirologie à l'Université du Québec à Montréal, UQAM. Professor Jenabian, he's recognized for his multidisciplinary research and insights into the mechanisms of immune dysregulation and accelerated aging, as well as HIV transmission and inflammation. And I studied the transmission of ideas through cultural memory, focusing on the roles of music and sound, especially in carrying messages during conflict and war. The ideas of transmission and inflammation connect our work. When tensions escalate through conflict, dormant ideas transmitted through music and sound can resurface and take over the cultural immune system. Merci, thank you, Waliwan.
Thank you very much for the introduction. À mon tour, j'ai l'honneur de vous présenter la docteure Joanna Eskipsrud. Joanna est une écrivaine et auteure de nombreuses œuvres de fiction, de poésie et de non-fiction. Elle est lauréate de plusieurs distinctions littéraires, notamment le prestigieux prix Giller pour son roman The Sentimentalist. Born in Nova Scotia, she earned her PhD in English literature from the Université de Montréal. She is currently a professor of English and creative writing at the University of Arizona. To make the link between what we do, although I'm not a writer of English literature, but rather a viral immunologist, both Joanna and I have chosen writing as our primary tool to communicate and share our creations and ideas with the society. Bravo and congratulations.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Xia Li. Dr. Lee is an associate professor of chemical and materials engineering, Concordia University Research Chair in High Energy Rechargeable Batteries, and Associate Director of the Concordia Collaborative Centers on Energy and its Transition. Les recherches de professeur Lee portent sur les développements de matériaux avancés pour les dispositifs de stockage d'énergie tels que les batteries à la base de lithium-sodium et les batteries à l'état solide. The goal of this work is to understand the synthesis, structure, performance relationship within energy storage and to apply that fundamental understanding to new battery technologies. Ce travail m'intéresse sous un angle disciplinaire différent, celui de la littérature. In my own work, I'm similarly interested in the relationship between structure and performance and ask how formal explorations of and experimentations with language can store and transfer experience and knowledge, and how that transfer can generate new energy, ideas, and openings for future thought. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. It's my great honor to introduce Dr. Maria Rogers. From the Department of Psychology, Carleton University. Dr. Rogers is Canada Research Chair in Child and Young's Mental Health and Well-Being. She is internationally recognized for her community-engaged research that advances the study of neurodevelopmental and mental health disorder in early life stages. Although we are not working in a similar nearby area, that I'm working on batteries, nanomaterials, we have the same commitment to supporting Canada's youth to make a great, cleaner, and healthier environment. Congratulations.
Merci et bonjour. It's my great pleasure and honor to present to you Dr. Marie-Odile Magnon. Dr. Magnon est professeur titulaire à la Faculté des sciences de l'éducation de l'Université de Montréal. Marie-Odile holds the chair in ethnic relations and is the director of les Fonds de recherche du Québec Inclusion and Ethnocultural Diversity in Education team. En tant que psychologue pour enfants, je suis profondément impressionnée par les recherches de Dr. Magnon, qui mettent en lumière les voix des jeunes et des personnes minorités. Dr. Magnon's notable contribution to the field have resulted in transforming school institutions, an increased focus on EDI issues and policies in education, as well as on academic inequalities from primary to post-secondary education. Félicitations, Professeur Magnon, pour cet honneur bien mérité.
Thank you so much for this presentation, Maria. So it's an honor to present Professor Aitaz Farouk. Pionnier dans l'étude des changements climatiques et de l'adaptation des technologies au climat de l'agriculture canadienne. I'm very impressed by your research. He focuses on fundamental understanding and development of state-of-the-art precision agriculture technologies while maintaining environmental sustainability. Mes travaux, qui portent sur les institutions éducatives plus justes et inclusives, partagent avec ses travaux sur les changements climatiques, on aurait pu dire des recherches très différentes, la finalité suivante qu'on a en commun, le développement d'une société durable. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm pleased to present Dr. Juliette Mammy. Dr. Juliette is an associate professor at the University of Manitoba. Her research is focused on parity-violating electron scattering and nuclear structures. She advocates for First Nation student success and promotes equity, diversity, and inclusion in physics education. So it took me a while to figure out the common research point between us. So her work on the detection systems, it is linked with my work with the drone mapping when we look at the soil, crop health, and predictive capabilities of precision agriculture technologies. Congratulations, Juliet.
Thank you, Professor Farouk. I feel honored to present Dr. Heidi Kiwetnepinasik-Stark. Her transformative work on treaty law centers Anishinaabe political thought, promoting a radical ethic of relationality regarding how we live as treaty partners. Her innovative work advances the restoration of Indigenous political authority and jurisdiction, defining our communities as those in which humans are not separate from and have a responsibility to the environment. And I thought that we couldn't have two fields further apart, but I've been proven wrong by previous introductions. Congratulations.
Miigwech, Juliet. It is my pleasure to introduce Stephen Lewis. His transformative research centers people's lived experience of non-suicidal self-injury and related mental health difficulties, challenging dominant theoretical and clinical paradigms. The impact of his work is far-reaching, shaping policy and training, and empowering individuals to work towards recovery. My own work shares in Stephen's commitments to improve individuals' daily lives by transforming the structures that shape our worlds. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I now have the great honor of introducing Dr. David Coussens. Dr. Coussens is a full professor and research chair in law, religion, and secularism at the Université de Sherbrooke. Dr. Coussens is a globally renowned scholar and leader in the evolution of legal models of secularism and the management of religious pluralism in liberal democracies. Although my background is not in the legal or secular arenas, like Dr. Coussens, my work is both cross-national and multidisciplinary in nature. Congratulations, Dr. Coussens.
Merci beaucoup. C'est un honneur de vous présenter aujourd'hui le professeur Manish Sadarangani. Manish is an international expert in translational vaccinology, whose work uniquely encompasses laboratory, clinical and epidemiologic research. Ces travaux contribuent à favoriser l'efficacité des politiques publiques. Ils identifient les groupes à risque et ils évaluent les réponses immunitaires aux différents vaccins. I have absolutely no expertise in epidemiology, even if I got COVID 4 times. I hope that my research will also help fighting against a virus that is gaining ground, the virus of intolerance toward minorities, especially religious minorities, sexual and gender minorities. Félicitations.
Thank you, Dr. Coussens, for that very kind introduction. I have the great pleasure now of presenting Professor Michelle Coe. Professor Coe is Canada's most academically accomplished physiotherapist and clinician scientist in critical care. La Professeur Coe a mené d'ambitieux essais cliniques internationaux et a fait progresser de nouvelles méthodes de recherche en réadaptation afin d'améliorer le rétablissement des survivants de maladies graves. She is a leading thinker in rehabilitation science following critical illness, and her novel scientific contributions, commitment to excellence in clinical scholarship, and methodologic expertise informs national and international practice guidelines with global impact. And while my vaccine research is really trying to prevent people from ending up in hospital and in critical care, through my work as a pediatrician, I see these children in hospital and see them in critical care, and very grateful to you for your work. So thank you for your work and congratulations.
Thank you. I have the honor to introduce Dr. Marie Auger-Mété. Dr. Mété is a highly original interdisciplinary researcher whose work in the development and application of novel statistical methods provides impactful insights into the ecology, movement, health, and behavior of animals. Elle fait progresser les connaissances scientifiques fondamentales qui sont essentielles à la formulation de politiques efficaces en matière de gestion et de conservation de la faune. Together, we have shared interests in studying movement and health, she in animals, and I in critically ill patients. Félicitations.
Thank you, Michelle. I have the great pleasure of introducing Dr. Bhavin Shastri. Bhavin and I share a deep interest in integrating fundamentally different sources of information to improve our capacity to make sense of the world, him focusing on improving computing efficiency. Dr. Shastri has a very impressive CV. He is a Canadian research chair in neuromorphic photonic computing. He is a co-director of an Insect Create program called Nucleus and won many awards, including the 2022 SPY Early Career Awards. His research explores new forms of computing by integrating photonics, artificial intelligence, and quantum information. Dr. Shastri explore de nouvelles formes d'information en intégrant la photonique, l'intelligence artificielle, et l'information quantique. His work helps the creation of computers that process information much faster, much more efficiently than before, which I appreciate because I run really big models, so I can't wait for all of these computers. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Marie Auger-Mété. It's my pleasure of presenting Dr. Georges Kadoum. Professor Kadoum is an authority in the field of wireless communications who has made groundbreaking contributions to adaptive modulations and resource management. His unwavering dedication to mentoring and his key editorial roles in esteemed IEEE journals vividly demonstrates his commitment to advancing the frontiers of wireless communication. I'm really excited to see Professor Kadoum's research arc because the photonic processes that I develop could have potential applications in wireless communications themselves. So thank you very much, Professor Kadoum, and congratulations.
Bonjour, j'ai le grand honneur d'introduire Dr. Marceline Côté. Dr. Marceline Côté is Tier 2 Canada Research Chair in Molecular Virology and Antiviral Therapeutics at the University of Ottawa and an internationally recognized leader in emerging viruses. Her groundbreaking work has identified a critical factor involved in viral infections and viruses entry and has led to the discovery of small molecular inhibitors, paving the way for a broad spectrum of antiviral therapy. Well, we are not working on the same area, but giving our shared roles as Canada Research Chairs and our commitment to advancing technology and health security, whether through wireless networks or antiviral therapeutics, our works contribute to foundational and applied advancement in the realm of secure networks and public health. Merci. Félicitations.
Merci beaucoup. Alors, c'est un honneur de boucler la boucle et de présenter le président du collège, le professeur Frank Deere, de l'Université du Manitoba. Titulaire d'une chaire de recherche du Canada en éducation autochtone, Dr. Deere is Kanyen'ka'ake from the Mohawk community of Kanawake, and his research focuses on investigating and promoting ways in which primary and secondary education supports Indigenous languages, an important dimension of the journey of Indigenous people toward the affirmation of their respective identities. Les travaux du Dr. Deere m'inspirent profondément.
Il contribue de manière significative à la revitalisation des langues et cultures autochtones au sein des communautés et des écoles, renforçant le lien entre les jeunes autochtones et leurs racines culturelles, favorisant ainsi un sentiment d'appartenance et de fierté identitaire. Merci, Dr. Deere.
Alors, maintenant que nous nous dirigeons vers la conclusion de la présentation des nouveaux membres du Collège de la Société royale du Canada 2024, je voudrais prendre un moment pour que nous puissions ensemble exprimer notre gratitude. This weekend, Frank Deere will complete his 2-year mandate as the president of the college. Having benefited from the leadership efforts of his predecessors, Carly Keogh and Cynthia Milton, Frank arrived to the presidency of the college with great enthusiasm, openness, and a lot of determination. Frank a présidé le collège en mettant l'accent sur l'excellence inclusive. Il a lancé la série de webinaires du Collège qui a permis à beaucoup d'entre nous de dialoguer ensemble et avec le public. Il a également travaillé pour l'adhésion du Collège au Conseil international des sciences. Il a assuré le leadership du Collège dans les dialogues de la Société royale au Collège Massé et à l'Université du Québec en Outaouais. While not diminishing the scopes of these achievements, Frank's signature contribution has been the leadership of the first trilateral partnership among 3 academies, leading to an international series of summits on Indigenous engagement in the academy. The opening event was held earlier this week and featured undergraduate students from 6 Canadian universities, Indigenous leaders from throughout Canada, and scholars from Australia and New Zealand. A research agenda driven by emerging scholars will light the path of the coming years for the RSC, for Canada, and in partnership with academies. Chairing the organization committee of this enterprise has been a huge commitment. And Frank has done this with great generosity and focus. Au nom du Conseil du Collège, et si je puis me permettre, au nom de tous ceux et celles qui sont ici parmi nous aujourd'hui, je voudrais adresser mes sincères félicitations et surtout, dire un très grand merci à Frank Deere pour son leadership et son engagement envers le Collège, envers la Société royale du Canada et envers le Canada. Frank, merci. Thank you. Nyawang. Je vous invite donc tous et toutes à vous joindre à moi pour donner une chaleureuse main d'applaudissement à notre collègue Frank Deere.
Now go, Isabel. And some were mentioned earlier in your remarks. I really appreciate you remarking on Carly, our previous president. Cynthia has done a great deal for our college as well, but there's some who have been in college council and in our college have now even graduated from the college who've done some great things within the college community. Some of which were mentioned by you. Some of these you will learn of, amongst other times, this evening, 7:30, down the hall. please. None of this would be possible without the support of the Royal Society of Canada. So President Alain Gagnon, I'm sure is here somewhere. Saw him earlier. Come on, Alain, where are you? Alain, Niaogo, thank you for all your support. And there's probably too many people to mention, but I have to reflect on something that this event and everything that goes on all year is the direct result of the hard work of the folks over at the Royal Society of Canada. They've helped out today. So folks like Russell McDonald right here has been really supportive of everything. Linda Clausen is somewhere, yeah. Linda Clausen is a finance officer and administrator at the RSC. I see Nicholas Lafreniere. Raise your hand, please, supporting this. Amelia Domaradsky, where are you? Are you somewhere here? She's supportive of the programs officer in the RSC, really quite important. Sarah Seward, I don't know if she's here right now, but she's been doing a lot of heavy lifting, and there's probably others too. But Niaogoa, thank you, everybody, for helping us get to this point and help us to continue down this road of engagement and supporting each other as we go on this journey of moral truth. Niaogoa, thank you very much. We welcome you to continue the celebration at the celebration lunch in the Kitsilano Ballroom, which is next door, I think. Yes. So go well. I hope to see you soon. Niaogoa, thank you.